can introduce yourself and tell me what inspired you. Is that microphone all good? Stand up there and see how that feels. So, okay? So anything else?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to get started. So parents, if you can wrap up where you're at. Again, I appreciate that some of you are willing to stand. I know it's standing room only. You exceeded my expectations for how many people have come tonight, so thank you very much. So if you can bring your voices down so we can introduce our first featured author, he would certainly appreciate your undivided attention. It's kind of nerve-wracking being up in front of a huge crowd. Before he begins and before I introduce him, just a quick word. Our pieces, F's on my report card written by Mrs. Volka's class, and a hair on my lollipop written by Mr. J's class. We're all inspired by Jerry Spinelli's book, The Knots in My Yo-Yo String. And if you haven't read that book, you need to pick it up. It's full of excellent personal narratives, and that's what the kids used as their inspiration. They wrote about an object that was special to them. So let's give our fifth graders one more big round of applause. Thank you. Our featured authors tonight, I chose 4. It was very difficult to only choose 4 to read to you because obviously all of your children did really, really exceptional. I did choose one student from each class that showed a lot of growth in their writing. So what that means is they showed improvement and they really matured as a writer. That wasn't me, that's good. And then we also chose 2 students that showed excellence in their writing from the get-go. So our 4 featured authors this evening are Siler Stein. Let's give him a round of applause. Mackenzie Rosé. Delaney Lord. And Dylan Moyer. And our first featured author is Siler Stein, so let's give him one more big round of applause.
Hi, I'm Siler Stein. This is the object that inspired this story. Glow of the Grass by Siler Stein. In my upstairs bedroom, with evening light through the shades only illuminating part of the area, under the white, wooden, and cracked bunk bed that glows in the low ambiance of the evening, in between the brown, stained, overloaded bookcase and the bright lemon yellow wall, lies a small, dark brown, broken hinge, yet extremely secure chest. It's the dullest of browns that holds more relation to an old rusty coffin full of mold and dust than a chest full of cherished belongings. Once the loose, unstable top of the chest is removed, it reveals the glow of the gold grass flower. The flower folds over itself, never a dull moment. In the scenario, the flower was in a real rose garden, despite the gold coloring, would hold no difference from its blood red, thorny, pencil-sized counterpart. When I gaze at the flower, multiple scenarios come to mind. A grass field burns in flames. The orange towers are tall and the air is black. The flames are demolishing the grass, not even giving it a chance of survival. However, some grass escapes certain demise. It lives to prosper, with a golden scorch to prove it. When I look at the flower, a strong scent of smoke grips my nostrils and makes me neglect other smells. As I gaze at the flower, it acts as a nightlight, illuminating the memory. The flower, imperfect as it is already, seems to unfold into a film strip, playing the memory back again. I'm small, about 4 to 5 years old. The windows of Savannah, Georgia's buildings are dark, and the blinds are closed. The color is dull. No cars, few people. The sky is dark with clouds. The ocean splashes ferociously against the shore that's on the opposite side of the barrier I'm walking adjacent to. Rain patters on the ground as if the two have been in a decade war. The puddles are the soldiers' blood, sweat, and tears that in the gray stone block road in the light are a bit of an eyesore. My t-shirt, as well as my socks, were soaked from splashes. My grandparents and just as depressed parents stood at my sides. Everything is dull and dark. It's as if a giant, color-eating wolf has recently passed by Savannah. It's like a sunny day was stolen from the world, leaving a nearly post-apocalyptic town. Just as I'm about to lose all hope and happiness, a light appears in the distance. Not a bright light. In fact, it's barely visible at all. But it's a light, no doubt. and as my hope rises and I draw closer, I realize it's a color. In the dullness of the day, the color almost glows, hypnotizing me towards it. As the light reels me closer, a man enters my sight, a black man. I stop in my tracks and look at him. He's the color. He wears a green, orange, and yellow robe with no shoes. His robe and face are dirty, yet he's comforting somehow. His hair is black, but barely visible as he's almost bald. He seems as though he could be dangerous, yet I'm attracted to him anyway. I walk up to the blanket, now soaked, that he's calmly sitting on. The blanket isn't store-bought, it's knitted from home. The way he's sitting, his comfort can't be purchased. A satchel leans at his side, but what's in it puzzles me. It's full of grass. In his hands, he's beautifully crafting the grass. He's folding it with amazing skill, too. Though the grass is burnt and cracked, he's folding it with ease, causing no damage to the grass's body. I look at a small stack of finished sculptures and realize he's crafting flowers. Grass flowers. Gold grass flowers. He crafts with such skill, it nearly brings tears to my eyes. I have never and would never again see so much talent in someone's hands. I muster up all my bravery and inquire with as much maturity as I can throw into my voice. How much for a flower? I swallow and wait for his response. He looks deep in my eyes. $3 is his response. I start to pace toward my mother to ask for money. She accepts my request, handing me $4 to spend. I make my way back towards the man, but in response, he holds up his hand, as if telling me to stop. But for you, amigo, he speaks softly, free of cost. I'm careful not to step on his special blanket as time slows down and he hands me the flower. I don't care what his offer was. I handed him all my money anyway. As I grasp the flower in my hands, as delicately as I ever held something, my body goes freezing cold. I start to shiver and shake. Then an extremely comforting warmth washes over me. If you have a special object you cherish, you know this feeling. But if you don't, well, you will never understand. The man is locked in my memory forever, never to be forgotten. I rush as fast as I can to catch up with my parents and grandparents who are re-entering the grayness and present my trophy, my battle scar, my treasure, the one single object that holds a special place in my heart, the thing I will never forget. Now, currently, it stays locked forever in the chest that has no lock. I will cherish it until adulthood and further after that. I will do everything in my power to make sure this box is passed down to my relatives, children, or whoever deems worthy. I'll tell them to pass it down to the next most worthy and the next after that. I'll make sure until death that this box will not leave my family, keeping everything in it. To my children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Flower included with everything else.
If you weren't standing to give him a round of applause, you ought to be.
Yeah. Very well done. Very well done.
Hard to believe that a fifth grader wrote that, yeah? Pretty impressive. So our next featured author will be Mackenzie Crusade coming down.